Imagine a corroded lump of bronze hauled up from about 150 feet below the Aegean Sea in 1901 by Greek sponge divers waiting out bad weather near a tiny island called Antikythera. Months later, a curator spots gear teeth inside the lump. Decades pass. Then, in the 2000s, scientists wheel in a giant X-ray machine and read a manual hidden in bronze for 2,000 years. What they find is shocking. A hand-cranked, box-sized device that predicted eclipses, tracked calendars, and likely showed the motions of the sun, moon, and planets. The world's oldest known analog computer. Today, we call it the Antikythera mechanism. It likely sat in a wooden case roughly 13 by 7 by 3.5 inches, small enough for a bookshelf, precise enough to forecast the sky. And the story isn't legend. It's backed by scans, gear counts, and ancient inscriptions you can still see in Athens. Shipwreck, sponge divers, and the first clues. A sudden storm shoved Captain Demetrios Kondos and sponge divers from Simi to anchor off Antikythera in 1900. While testing his suit, a diver surfaced breathless about dead bodies and horses on the seafloor. Really, a cargo of statues scattered around a broken hull. The Greek Navy returned with the crew through 1901, winching up bronzes, glass, coins, and a crusted green mass of bronze and wood nobody could read. Each descent, at roughly 150 feet, was a gamble in copper helmets and hose-fed air. Minutes on the bottom, then a careful rise to avoid the bends. Everything went to the National Archaeological Museum in Athens. In 1902, visiting statesman Spyridon Staeus noticed a toothed rim in that lump. Curators called scholars, and cleaning revealed a shattered box with dials and interlocking gears. As the concretion flaked away, the find split into many numbered pieces. A core set preserves the mechanism's engine room and most legible text. The same wreck also yielded the famous Antikythera Youth bronze sculpture, showing that this was a rich cargo ship, not a coastal skiff. Early progress moved inch by inch. Conservators stabilized wood traces on bronze plates. Radiographs in mid-century hinted at wheels inside, but could not resolve them. In 1974, historian Derek DeSola Price published Gears from the Greeks, arguing carefully that this was a precision astronomical calculator. His diagrams gave everyone a first working plan. The next leap needed heavier tools and a patient team willing to build rigs around priceless fragments, scan them layer by layer, and let the metal tell its story. The tale begins with luck at sea, then turns into a long relay. Conservation benches, notebooks, and steady rethinking carry the baton forward. What it did: calendars, eclipses, and likely the planets. Picture a side handle turning and a miniature sky answering. Greek cities ran lunar solar calendars, months by the moon, years by the sun, so dates drifted unless corrected. Inside this compact case, gear trains encoded long rhythms that keep these cycles in step. One back dial kept a 19-year count of 235 lunar months. A second refined that over 4 19-year blocks. A third tracked a triple-length eclipse correction useful across roughly half a century. Up front, a 365-day civil calendar ring was likely paired with the zodiac, allowing users to read both a day number and a star position together and reconcile local festivals with the sky. Consider how someone might use it. You'd zero the machine to a known date, say a new moon seen that month, then turn the handle to step days forward. The front pointers would glide through the zodiac, while the rear spirals advanced month by month. Instead of consulting tables, you'd watch the device tell the story: when months needed an extra day, when to insert a leap month, and where the sun and moon would be on any chosen date. Eclipses were the headline attraction. A tight spiral carried month-by-month eclipse markers, solar or lunar, with small notes about where along the ecliptic to look in a rough time of day. Turn to any future month and the pointer told you whether the sun might dim or the moon might darken. Marks also flagged the ascending and descending nodes, the crossing points that make eclipses possible. So the box showed not only that an event was due, but why the geometry lined up. A practice user could roll forward one cycle to check the follow-on eclipse, compare seasons, and judge whether the next event would likely be seen at dawn, midday, or dusk in their region. The moon's motion was handled with real elegance. A pin and slot linkage built uneven speed right into the gear train, so the moon pointer naturally sped up and slowed down like the real moon. A phase indicator, likely a half-black, half-white ball, or a windowed disc, let you read first quarter, full, and last quarter at a glance. Because the sun pointer tracked the year along the zodiac, conjunctions and oppositions were obvious. turning eclipse geometry into something you could point to with a fingertip. The result is a model you can learn by watching. Which alignments make a solar eclipse rare, why lunar eclipses cluster, and how the pattern repeats on a long beat. And the planets? 5 were known to Greek observers: Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. Full planet trains did not survive, but front-face legends list their periods. Modern reconstructions show how compact epicyclic packs, gears riding on gears, could fit inside the case and drive 5 pointers with retrograde loops built in. The math matches Greek astronomy. The layout matches the surviving labels. If that reading is right, you could wind up at a festival season or famous date and watch a pocket cosmos step into that sky. A teacher could demonstrate why Mars sometimes backs up against the stars, or why Venus never strays far from sunrise and sunset. Less lecture, more demonstration. The device also tied science to daily life. A small festival dial cycled through the major Panhellenic Games every 4 years, aligning civic time with celestial cycles so processions and oaths landed on the right days. A star calendar, a parapegma, likely listed the seasonal risings and settings of bright stars: Sirius, Arcturus, and Pleiades. Useful for sailing windows, planting, and public rites. Some inscriptions acted like tooltips, reminding users what a scale meant or how to read a pointer at a boundary. In plain terms, it reconciled calendars, forecast eclipses, and probably showed planets, linking the heavens to schedules that people cared about. It taught by motion. Crank, watch, understand. And it planned by turning numbers into wheels you could see. How we know: scans, teeth, and detective work. The breakthrough arrived when imaging beat corrosion. In 2005, the research team rolled a high-energy X-ray CT cabinet into the museum and set up ultra-detailed surface imaging. The CT allowed them to slice fragments digitally and count gear teeth buried under a mineral crust. Surface scans captured hair-fine grooves and letters that the eye could not see. Overnight, hunches turned into measurements, exact tooth counts, axle pairings, pin and slot paths, and lines of text recovered from inside plates. Because the scans were archived and shared, other scholars could recheck counts, propose alternate trains, and argue from the same data instead of from sketches. Publishing came in steady waves so others could check the math. One round mapped the rear spirals and their gear trains. Another identified the 4-year festival register. Later work refined eclipse annotations and expanded the corpus of inscriptions to many thousands of characters. Engineers built working replicas that obeyed the new counts, stress testing whether proposed meshes would turn smoothly and whether pointers would land where the inscription said they should. Epigraphers stitched sentences from curved, flaking edges and reconciled variant letter forms. Historians matched month names to a specific regional calendar, giving the device both a cultural context and a technical plan. Museum teams documented fragment joins and plate layering, allowing researchers to determine which texts belong to which dials, a crucial step in avoiding circular reasoning. Dating rests on converging anchors. The Rex cargo signals a late Hellenistic sinking. The letter style and the astronomical scheme suggest that the mechanism itself belongs to an earlier period, likely the 2nd century BC. The calendar vocabulary on the back aligns with a northwestern Greek tradition, hinting at the owner's or maker's world. Coin finds and cargo type back the time frame. Tool marks and tooth geometry point to a high craft workshop. In Athens today, you can stand before the sea green shards and, a few steps away, watch a modern model turn. Evidence and explanation side by side, letting visitors compare raw fragments with a reasoned reconstruction. Craft holds up under magnification. Fine, regular teeth circle compact wheels. Arbors and plates nest inside a wooden case small enough to carry, about 13 by 7 by 3.5 inches. A side handle likely drove a crown gear feeding multiple trains at once, with small index pins helping a reader land cleanly on marks. Even the lettering, some characters nearly 1/20th of an inch tall, reads like a clear user's guide, not decorative filler. Nothing feels improvised. The design is coherent. The mechanics make the sky legible without the need for tables or electricity, and the inspirational legend ensures that a literate user can operate it with confidence. One more modern note: the picture keeps sharpening. Fresh scans with better lighting, math, and higher X-ray resolution continue to tease out letters missed before, lock down tooth counts that were uncertain, and clarify which inscriptions belong to which dial. Digital models now include tolerances for wear and play, checking whether proposed trains still run when you add realistic backlash. Scholars also track uncertainty bands, flagging spots where two layouts could fit the evidence, so updates refine details without overturning the core reading. The big story has settled, what the device did and how, but the fine print keeps improving. A letter here, a tooth there, and now and then a fresh line of text that tightens the blueprint. Myths, truths, and the people behind the bronze. Quick myth cleanup. No aliens, no time travelers. Functions align with Greek astronomy and established mechanical practices. Nor was this a lone miracle. Ancient authors mention geared planet models and showy display machines. Most simply did not survive salt water in centuries. This one did, rescued, conserved, and read. So what sort of object was it? Most likely a teaching and planning tool for a learned owner, a scholar, a patron, perhaps a workshop tied to civic or temple calendars. The labels read like instructions, not secrets. It connects sky cycles with schedules, eclipses you can plan around, festivals you can date, seasons you can anticipate. In a world without printed almanacs, it is a durable, portable briefing on how the heavens run, useful for ritual timing, long-range travel, and education. Where might it have been made? The calendar flavor in its text points one way. Famous hubs of mechanical craft point another. Roads, for example, had astronomers and instrument makers. Others argue that mainland networks linked to mathematical schools. The safest map is broader. It belongs to the Hellenistic workshop tradition, where mathematicians, metalworkers, and patrons collaborated and traded designs across the Aegean. Why care now? Because it shows a full pathway from observation to numbers, numbers to gears, and gears to shared understanding. It also models how knowledge survives. Divers braving rough water, curators protecting fragments, a historian sketching the first plan, engineers rolling a scanner into a gallery, epigraphers reading letters the size of grains of rice, and replica builders turning ratios into motion. That chain, sea to lab to classroom, is how many fields advance today, from medicine to spaceflight. Add the human portraits. A diver in a canvas suit peering through a brass window at scattered bronzes, a conservator refusing to discard junk, a researcher tracking a faint tooth count across a broken rim, a scholar recognizing a month name that ties the device to a place, a craftsperson 2,000 years ago filing each tooth, testing the mesh by feel, engraving scales in neat, tiny strokes. The mechanism's beauty is not only what it does, it's how many hands, ancient and modern, make this sky clear. Two cautions keep us straight. First, those planetary pointers remain a reconstruction guided by surviving text and mechanics. A complete ancient train did not endure. Second, expect micro-corrections as imaging improves. An added letter here, a refined count there. The storyline stands. The focus tightens. Conclusion. Here's where the story lands. Picture the small wooden case on a table, about a foot tall, waiting for your hand on the crank. Turn it, and the past answers. Months click forward. The moon waxes and wanes. An eclipse mark arrives right on cue. This machine was a lesson plan, a planner, and a performance all in one. It was lifted from roughly 150 feet of water by sponge divers, studied by curators, decoded by scans, and rebuilt in our minds by patient readers of letters the height of a grain of rice. The result alters our perspective on the ancient world. Precision didn't start with factories. It started with math, files, and stubborn skill, all packed into a box about 13 inches by 7 inches by 3.5 inches. The Antikythera mechanism proves that clear thinking can cross 2,000 years. Turn the handle in your head. The sky still turns with it. How would you like to get a deeper understanding of history, impress your friends, and predict the future more accurately based on past events? If this sounds like something you might be into, then check out the brand new Captivating History Book Club by clicking the first link in the description. To learn more about ancient Greece, check out our book, History of Greece, a captivating guide to Greek history, starting from the Bronze Age in ancient Greece through the classical and Hellenistic period to the modern era. It's available as an ebook, paperback, and audiobook. If you found the video captivating, please hit the like button and subscribe for more videos like this.